prayer still.
You finna pray?
Girl, I feel prayer still.
Oh my God. Yeah, glory.
Yeah. So Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for everything you've done and everything you are doing behind the scenes that we don't even see. Lord, we hope that this episode blesses somebody, even bless me, even free me, even free some people. Let it touch people that it's supposed to touch. Anybody that's supposed to hear it, let them be able to hear it, oh God. I ask that the things that we're doing right now are not only free for us, and they're free for your people. I ask that you do what you do when you do it. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
What up, G.E.T.O fam? What up, y'all? You hear that? What up?
So today's video, I guess it's mostly about me, in a sense.
Yeah.
Mostly about me.
This is another episode from Church Folk, Hurt Folk. And this is her transition out and how she viewed things, because both of our stories are different. Even though we was in the same house, even our other two brothers, everybody had a different story, living in the same house with the same mama, same daddy.
That part.
It was just different. Drum roll, please. Ew. Here you go.
Basically, when we transitioned out of the church, I started going to a public school. Me and my brother went to a public school, first to third, maybe fourth, like that, and then we went to the private cult school from there up until like 10th grade, I think. Lo and behold, I get introduced to a whole nother world. I felt like Aladdin. A whole new world. Y'all have to watch your ears and your eye gates when you go from this transition, like from a closed environment, like being inside a freaking bubble. Because that's what it was. It was inside a bubble. Like I'm in a bubble and the bubble get popped. So,
not the cherry did pop. The bubble got popped.
Listen, the bubble got popped, y'all. So I had to literally change my way of thinking and to like open my eyes to see different stuff. Cause like, okay, so let me tell you one of the things I knew it existed. Okay, I'm just gonna say gay people. I didn't know that wanting the same sex existed as much as it did when I got to the public school, because in the cult, it was hidden. You could tell, like a couple of our family members was kind of, but then you didn't really see it. So you could tell like it was probably behind closed doors, but when you come forth in front of the people and for the congregation, then it was different.
Yeah.
They didn't really.
Oh, okay. Never mind. The family members just done them.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, as you would think, you thought they was.
It was just always the question mark in the air, and nobody.
Right.
Nobody dared to ask them.
Right. Exactly.
Or approach them. I don't even think their parents. I think their parents just left it as is.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna question you. Maybe they had some private conversations.
Right.
But it was noticeable. We just didn't acknowledge it.
It was always, like I said, you got a couple of family members that you knew they was out there, but then in front of church they wasn't like that.
Yeah.
They liked what they were supposed to like. And then you had a couple of other people that wasn't family. You kind of knew because they were playing that tambourine, boy.
Oh.
It was people that wasn't in our family. They were playing that tambourine real good. I was like, the little bit of exposure, and then when my bubble was popped, I was like, oh, okay. You want to be this, and you want, oh, okay, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
That's real different. Like, I didn't judge the people for, what they had going on, because this is what they did. I didn't know it was so many of them. It was just a whole lot, and I didn't realize it was that many. But people, say they knew, who to try, who not to try. Going to the public school, it was just different as far as like clothes, because we was used to uniforms
and jean skirts.
Well, actually, once we stopped going to the church, then that's when the pants and stuff start coming in. We were able to wear pants then as girls. The girls was able to wear pants. It was a little bit more freedom. Like, you could see the difference. You're like, well, dang, man, as the real religious people, they call it living in the world. The worldly people.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, this is what I've been missing? Like, I can wear what I want to wear. I wasn't dressing crazy, but I was wearing regular clothes. I wasn't confined in the clothes that I was wearing, because your clothes, sometimes they can change who you are.
When we was going to church, I had to wear certain outfits, but then I cried. I used to cry when I was going to, I think I was in elementary school or maybe Lockhart. And my mama was trying to make me wear a skirt to school. I was so used to wearing like the shorts and the shirts and those sets. She tried to make me wear a skirt. And when I tell you, I sat on that hallway floor and cried because I did not want to wear no skirt. And then when I got to middle school, I found out I had a little shape. Couldn't tell me nothing. The tight pants, and then I discovered thongs. It came from my cousin.
I knew about thongs in middle school. Like,
I discovered thongs in middle school. Damn. Exposure.
The right
exposure. I ain't saying it was the right exposure.
Look, we working on the right exposure now. That was the wrong thing. We was exposed to everything not to do.
So did you have like relationships? Like, did you experience what a relationship was like personally when you was going to the academy versus going to public school?
Well, at the church, I had a couple of boyfriends. I had a couple of boyfriends.
I don't know one.
It wasn't the same. It wasn't at the same time, because I never played those games. I had a couple of boyfriends. Sometimes people would try to holler, and I'd be like, "Nah, bro, I'm good." The transition, I say, went to high school. From that school, of course, the dudes had a different mindset.
Both wanted the same thing.
In a sense, one dude from the church, he didn't. He wasn't like that. He was based on the heart at that time.
So when you transitioned to public school?
Yeah, that's when I found out they just want sex everything. Think about the transition now from the church school to a real school, because they wasn't accredited at the time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how people graduate, but they wasn't accredited at the time. We went from staying in one classroom. PE wasn't even really PE, because we was jumping rope with freaking water hoses. I never forget the green water hose. We was some bad double dutch jumping with a water hose. Like, make sure you unplug that water hose so we can double dutch. But from staying in one class most of the day, because it wasn't even a real class, it was a big old cafeteria, and it was cubicles that separated the classes. So just imagine a call center, just cubicles separate.
Because going to church, I used to want to go inside the school part, because the classes was attached to the cafeteria as well. Mm-hmm. And so the lights would be off. So
you already you in there hungry because somebody in the kitchen cooking, because it's right there. Ain't no doors. Only time you had a door is if you was in the kindergarten classroom, because another classroom was way in the back by the bathrooms. But there was really no privacy. So if one teacher yelling, then everybody teacher can hear it, so everybody in there laughing. So you get from sitting in one classroom, and then you go to public school, you got what, six periods? High school, it was 6 periods. And I'm like, dang, so I literally I was excited in a sense, because I'm like, dang, I don't got to sit in this one classroom all day. I get to go to different teachers. I get to have different people that I get to know in different classrooms. And it was an interesting transition. I liked it, but 11th grade wasn't too bad. It was getting used to getting up early, because that getting up at 5-something in the morning wasn't it. But when I hit that senior year though, best thing ever. I got up the same time. And listen, y'all, we ain't had no city buses either, so my parents didn't have to take us, no school buses at private school. So my parents didn't take us to school, and we didn't have to catch no rides, because when we went to public school, we actually had a school bus. That's another transition. Riding to school with people on a bus versus totally different. See how the proms was different. See how the people were different. Like, we had a select group that we would hang around, and I only talked to maybe a couple of them. I was slowly graduating out of my mama house at 19 with my now husband, because I left y'all. Okay, once I got out of mama house, that's when I didn't realize until I think after I had money, had my oldest daughter, and I was like, oh dang, I'm doing the same thing my daddy did. I was subconsciously subconsciously attempting to replace my family, because we were in a broken home, and everybody think when you got your mom and daddy, you all good. Not the case. If they're going through stuff, then it's gonna be all on you. And I thought I was getting away from that. And I had a journal And I still got it. It's one of those black and white composition books.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading stuff in there, and I'm like, God dang, boy, I thought I was hiding all this stuff, and I really wasn't. You came over to the house, wanted to take your senior pictures. This is when I moved. When I moved out to my husband's, we was staying with his granddad at the time, and she came over there. She wanted to get her hair hot combed or whatever.
No.
You want to get a flat iron?
Flat iron.
Flat iron?
Hot comb.
Oh.
I wasn't using hot comb.
Hey, that's real old. She wanted to get her hair flat iron because the lights was off over there. I was like, bro, you can't ask me. This ain't my house. And she grilled me for that for the longest time. And I was like, bruh, I didn't realize that I was subconsciously attempting to replace y'all. And then what I was trying to replace y'all with wasn't no better.
Move from one dysfunction to the next.
Right. It wasn't no better what I was trying to replace y'all with. And then I realized that you don't realize sometimes until you're in certain situations, or you even just give yourself time to think that I'm subconsciously taking on somebody else's stuff. Like everybody take on a little bit from their parents. Like I took on that particular portion from dad, and then I realized from mom, she didn't really speak up much. So I started speaking up. But I knew when to pick and choose my battles in our relationship. But then I would also be asking him, you good? Everything good? I would ask that because I didn't want it to be like my mom and dad relationship. You good? Is there anything that I can improve on? Or is there anything that we need to work on in our relationship? Because my mom wouldn't say anything. And I was, in my head, I was like, dang, if maybe she would have asked these questions, then that would have helped their relationship work out. But no, you can't do that because either somebody's not going to tell the truth or they're not even just ready for you to even be asking that question. Because it still may not be something that may arise later.
Because some people still be in a broken space.
Mm-hmm.
Like while you with them, you hop from one dysfunction to another dysfunction. So both of y'all didn't know how to communicate what y'all was feeling. And on top of that, like he knew a part of the church that we was in too. Like he went, but he wasn't like in it.
Thank you, Jesus.
And with mama them communicating, they really didn't have the support they needed if they would have communicated because look at the foundation they were on. Look at the church that they were going to. They weren't receiving counseling. And if they was receiving counseling, it would have been beneficial to them because it was pretty much like
right. Who in there would be qualified enough? It says seek wise counsel. Who would have been wise enough to counsel them? Because none of them in there was wise enough. They was all cheating on their wives or doing whatever they was doing. So they became victim to their environment. And also realizing that when we grew up, we weren't very affectionate with each other.
right.
Like hugging was like weird. And you would think like even that we parents. When we got over that, like a few years ago?
Like 2 years.
2 years ago.
Cause like even when my kids come up and try to like I started like giving them a kiss on their face or whatever, and sometimes when they was doing it back to me, it just was like ew, like what are you doing?
It's like you get this like weird feeling in your body. I can't. It's weird.
It's like why your lips on me? Like what are you doing? And that was them showing their affection because that's how I displayed it to them. But them doing it back to me was like, you crossing the line, bro. Like, what's up?
Square up, bro.
What's up? Like, you just made me feel uncomfortable. What's the movie? It's this alien movie where all of them at the end of the movie, he hugged his dad, and his dad turned orange or yellow or something like that. Because usually they're purple and blue. And when he finally hugged his dad, he was like, "Get off me!" He was like, "What is this I'm feeling?" He was like, "It's love."
Right, but even hugging our parents was weird, like, cause we didn't show that much affection. Like, we didn't start telling each other "I love you" until a few years ago.
Okay.
Maybe our parents didn't do it with their parents. Maybe that's why. It was
No,
weird.
they didn't. I know Mama said she used to sit in between her mom and dad while they was watching TV, but other than that, I don't recall anything else.
Right. The
But
affection
it's
is
learned behavior passed down because Mama did try at some point. I know her whooping rights were revoked. So her whooping card got taken away from her and she was no longer able to whoop us. per my dad's request. He was the disciplinary parent in the home. And it's just learned, passed down behaviors. And we had to stop it. Right. Because had we not stopped it, and our children would have been like this towards their children. And it was like, yeah, something got to give. Something got to change. Something got to break. Because it wasn't a healthy pattern. Mm-mm. It wasn't healthy for our parents because they weren't even able to voice their opinions to their parents because their parents gone now on both sides. But the conversations that we've been able to have with our parents, they wasn't able to have it. So we broke a barrier. We knocked down the wall of Jericho with a lot of the things that we broke in the past 3 years alone dealing with our family. A lot of things have healed. A lot of things are still healing. A lot of conversations have taken place that would have never taken place had God not opened our eyes and had we not been in the circles that we are in now. And even before we were placed in them circles, God was already doing something spiritually with us. And people was trying to fix our family that people was trying to fix our family when their family was broken and needed to be fixed. So in a way, they were trying to do the same thing we were trying to do when we left our family, trying to create another one and helping whoever we was with. We were trying to fix their family because we were boyfriend and girlfriend and like, oh, well, you got issues in your family, so maybe y'all should talk about this. And it's like, okay, well, you got issues in your family too, so why won't you try to work on your own? So outside looking in, it's like, I understand it, I get it, but you ain't got no business trying to fix somebody's family when yours still broken.
Sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. Boom, boom, boom. Right. And it was a cute gesture.
When I messed up, I started my life over again.
Like it was a nice gesture. It was.
But I was offended at the time. But now looking back,
I was real offended. Like I was gonna be like, look, what you not gonna do is this.
What you're not gonna do is try to fix my family when your relationship with your parents and your family is jacked up. We good over here. Let us do the fixing, and you do the minding your business and staying in your lane.
Like your intentions were in the right place at the right time, but you literally have to wait for the right season. Cause us, we was like, dang, we want to help all these families, but it was like, dang, we had to realize we can't help nobody's family. We can't help our own. Granted, everybody in our family will not receive the help.
So look at the route God took us on. Because before we even started, we was doing videos, but we wasn't able to touch on this stuff. Mm-hmm. And God like, y'all can't touch on this until y'all take the beam out of y'all own eye, until I restore what was lost in your family, until y'all acknowledge the fact that y'all need me, acknowledge the fact that y'all are broken, right. Acknowledge the fact that y'all need to heal, so then it can start. So now, fast forward here, it's like, oh, now we can talk about it. Exactly. Because we're no longer in the mess. Mm-hmm. We went through it and we're out of it now. But God, like, you can't tell people what they need to do if you ain't doing it or if you ain't done it yet.
Exactly. Because people don't want to hear about nothing based on your woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Or your opinion.
Or what you think.
Well, I feel like this may work. Well, have you tried it yet? Has it worked for you? Well, they ain't going to listen to it if it ain't worked for you yet. Mm-hmm. Because they want to know what your review is like. What's your customer review say? Did it say that this was a good product? Did it say that it's worth buying and selling again? Because if you ain't went through family healing, you don't need to be talking to nobody about family healing.
Nope. It just like touch back on those individuals. It was coming from a good place, but at the time we couldn't see it. Because it was like, again, no, that ain't it. You can't tell me what to do. That's like you trying to tell me that I got a problem, and I don't want to hear that I got a problem. I'm not gonna take it from a good place. It's not gonna come from a good place. I'm gonna come from a place of offense because I feel like you just tried me.
Yeah,
but that's just like if I was trying to go to you and try to fix your family, you would have felt some type of way.
Because usually a lot of that, definitely if you're dating someone and you see that their family is troubled, it comes from a lot of pillow talk.
Oh,
and it's usually one-sided. Like, okay, well. You said this about your family, you said that about your family, and because you placed that image in my mind, now I'm starting to see or believe that that's true, and it could not be the case.
Right.
And then maybe if you have a relationship with the other individuals' families, then you hear different parts of the story and what's going on. But it still gives you a clouded view because the person you really want to help is the person that you're pillow talking with, of course. But that doesn't necessarily give you the right. First off, if you're not a legal counselor, and second off, if you're not spiritually called by God to set that appointment up. If God didn't tell you, hey, I want you to go relay this message to them and tell them that I said this needs to happen. Mm-hmm. But no, those thoughts came from your own personal opinion and your own personal conversations with your significant other. Something you heard from them, and y'all just, oh, well, I love you and I just really want y'all family to get along, and I think I want to set this up for y'all. No.
9 times out of 10, it wouldn't have worked out the way you wanted it to because it was you and it wasn't God. Bottom line, we all need help in some way, shape, or form. But what I learned from this whole situation and this transition is like literally, God is everything. When it comes to your business, your marriage, your relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, your kids, we're looking at patterns. If you take away anything from this, just make sure that just take yourself out of it. Remove your personal feelings. Because sometimes you may be in a bowl for so long, you didn't even realize you was in a bowl. And then you get to the real world and it's like, oh snap, I'm about to run wild. Good thing I didn't. I learned from a lot of other people's mistakes before I tried to do stuff. I was like, All right, y'all. That was my story.
It's a very calm story.
She always think my stories like have to be like, just be yourself. I'm like, bro,
you be lit though, like, bro. And then when we get on here telling the stories, just be so calm, like we doing therapy.
It is my therapy. I keep telling you that. What do you not get?
It is your therapy.
Yes. I told you when we started this, I said, that's why we need to hurry up. We need to hurry up. Because I kept seeing release. I'm like, this is my therapy. That's why I'm quiet. Like I'm calm when I'm doing it.
Well, I want to be turned up.
Didn't you just say some things are going to have to be serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can still be turned up and serious. What you talking about? Because I feel like I need to do another segment of my story after the last event.
Girl, you got several events. We gonna invite a few girls. Anyway, stay lit,
stay live,
stay focused,
and we out.